Ocean creatures may have been protecting us from millions of viruses this entire time. Well, yeah, we know that. We who live in the Mediterranean area, the fishermen tell us that it takes about a day for the marine animals to clean up the water. So they know what they're talking about. This is by Peter Dockrell on Science Alert. It's easy to say that the world has had more than enough of things that cause diseases and viruses, bacteria. Unfortunately, the converse is not necessarily true. Incredible vastness of virus fear is hard to overstate. While several thousands of these kinds of them have been studied in detail, scientists say we have not even scratched the surface. There could be trillions of species overall, some think. Now, even more conservative estimates, mind-boggling, in the oceans, tens of millions of different kinds may lurk, and not to say what also may be coming out from the ancient viruses. If these glaciers in the Arctic and Antarctic start melting, they can release ancient viruses that humanity is not used to, and that could be devastating as well. Now, in oceans, tens of millions of different kinds may lurk, and it's not exactly hard to find them. Hundreds of thousands of new species can be identified if you go looking for them in abundances that defy imagination. As many as 10 million viruses can be present in a milliliter of water. And against all this viral enormity, it's reassuring to remind ourselves of two constants, both of which are explored in a new study led by marine ecologist Jennifer Welsh from the Royal Netherlands Institute for Sea Research, NIOZ. In short, not every virus infects every living thing, and some animals actually prey upon viruses, in a sense, by removing them from the environment. Despite this valuable and underappreciated public service, much of what underlies the phenomenon remains a mystery. Viruses are the most abundant biological entities in marine environments, but despite potential ecological implications, very little is known about virus removal by ambient non-host organisms. This is what Welsh and her team explained in a new paper. In this series of experiments in the lab, researchers examined how a range of these non-host marine organisms fared at removing viral particles from the marine environment, either by active predation or by passive mechanisms such as filter feeders and organisms that create physical barriers between viral parasites and their hosts. Of 10 different animal species tested, the crabs, cockles, oysters, and sponges turned out to be the most effective at reducing viral abundance. Yes, even oysters. Mussels and oysters, cockles and things. She said in our experiments, the sponges reduced the presence of viruses by up to 94% in only 3 hours. Although after a full 24 hours, that figure reached even 98% virus removal. And this is exactly what the fishermen were telling us, the fishermen here in the Mediterranean. They know about this. Because these things, there's a lot of sponges in Greece, a lot of mussels too, in the seashores, around the rocks. You'll find squid, octopus, mussels. Now, another experiment shows that the uptake of viruses happens indeed very quickly and effectively, even if we offered new viruses to the water every 20 minutes. The sponges remained tremendously effective in removing the viruses. And let's remember what they said. Within 3 hours, 94% are cleaned up by the sponges, and in the full 24 hours, 98%. Can you imagine? Sponges. And we do have a lot of sponges in Greece as well. Now, in the Mediterranean. And that's where sponge diving really started. They used to take this rock to go down with the rock in order for the rock to weigh them down. And then they would come up, very dangerous work, by the way, because we have a lot of sharks in the Mediterranean too. Now, in comparison to the sponges tested, crabs were the second most effective, reducing viral abundance by 90% in 24 hours. Okay, so the crabs, but as we said, the sponges are even better, while the cockles manage 43% and oysters only 12%. Of course, these impressive results from lab experiments might not be actually succeeding in the wild, given the range of behavioral changes that can occur in biodiverse aquatic environments, not to mention the host of other environment variables that play under the sea. And Welch says the situation there is much more complex, as many other animal species are present and influence one another. For example, if an oyster is filtering and a crab comes along, it closes its valve and stops filtering. In addition, there are factors such as tidal currents, temperatures, and UV light to consider. And nonetheless, the researchers think that this normal ability of non-host animals to reduce the abundance of viral particles in marine environments is something we might be able to exploit one day, especially in aquaculture farming, where organisms like sponges could be used as a kind of shield to help protect farm populations from viral pathogens. Whether or not that will be ultimately possible to implement remains to be seen, but it's clear, the team says, that this ongoing process of viral removal in the oceans is something that's been underestimated so far. The influence of non-host organisms in the ambient environment really is a factor that's been overlooked in virology, in virus ecology. The same kinds of themes explored in the team's paper are considered at even greater length in Welch's PhD thesis. That's where she considers how parasite-host interactions do not occur in an ecologic vacuum, being affected by a variety of ambient fauna and flora mechanisms. And as it happens, Welch will be defending the thesis soon due to the ongoing restrictions and other viruses. Now, she says, my apartment is small, so I may end up defending my thesis on my bed with my laptop. This is reported on Scientific Reports, and it's on Science Alert. And just a conclusion, because, the fish in the Mediterranean is so delicious. And we asked the fishermen, we said, why is it that the fish in Greece is so delicious? And they said, it's the sun. The sun, the ultraviolet rays of the sun. It's so beautiful, the way, you can even see it, the way it just dances on the water, on the surface of the water. The sun is what penetrates and goes into, and that's what causes the fish to be so delicious, he said. Amazing. And we still have sponge fishermen here in Greece. And if you go to the islands, they sell real sponges as well for bathing, for washing yourself when you're bathing. So this is amazing. And I'll leave links below for you for this on Science Alert. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.